Let's resume with the creation of our next LOD. Now that we have our LOD3 created, and I've gone in and done a few extra touches, cleaned up this leaf a little bit in Photoshop. I'll want to go back and clean that up further, but I just want to make sure that it's going to look the way that I want it to look when it's finished. So clean that up and tweaked on my leaves a little bit more to get the general shape that I want going forward, and go ahead and duplicated that, named it LOD3, and we're just going to hide that now. And we don't need this any longer. We don't want to work off of that any longer, so we'll hide that as well. Now, I would like to interject that there is an even faster way of creating LODs. I don't want to confuse those that are just starting out, but I'll mention it here. When you get really familiar with this process, what you can do is when you're copying the leaves, you can actually instance those leaves. And what that will do is allow you to move those into position, but after you do that, if you start to iterate on the leaf that was your original copy, then it'll actually update the rest of the leaves as well. So in integrating that into your pipeline, what you would do is simply move your leaves into place, but instead of, let's see if I can do that now, instead of using, I've got the wrong menu because it's part of the mesh now, but when you copy those as individual objects, you would get the option of copying them as instance objects, and you would do that then, and then leave the leaves separate from the trunk, but duplicate everything, put it together as one object like we did before, and then use that as your next LOD. Then you would go back to the version that you were working on and continue to iterate on that primary object, which then updates all the rest of the objects along with it. And it's just a much quicker but a little bit more confusing workflow. So we'll continue like this, but I wanted to interject that thought so that when you are becoming quicker with your creation of your eco and your other models that need to be duplicated and used in the world, that you can use that little trick and integrate that into your pipeline. Alright, so let's continue. We are going to work in Editable Poly because we have an entire tool set up here under Graphite Modeling Tools that is very quick and easy for iterating on Editable Poly. So we will go to Editable Poly, and I'm going to be working with the edges primarily for these leaves. I'm going to go back to my options here in the view port and select on edged faces so that I can see where those edges are and where they need to go. Now this particular LOD is the next one up, and that will be LOD 2. It's not our highest level of detail, but it's the mid-range. So in this case we'll be seeing the LOD2 within 100 to 300 feet in distance from the camera. So we'll want to begin to add faces where we need them most. Now because we want nice arches in these leaves, and that will be one of the most apparent things of the silhouette. We're after strong silhouette when we're looking at doing LODs. We want to make sure that we put the polys in locations where that arch is going to be well portrayed. We also want to be very careful not to iterate on this tree to the point where it changes the shapes or positions of these leaves, because then as I've mentioned before, when the LOD transitions into the next LOD, there's going to be enough of a difference where it would actually show popping in the level, and we want to avoid that. Alright, so let's continue. I have edges in my sub-object menu selected, and I will go double click on Graphite Modeling Tools. There we go. And in the Graphite Modeling Tools, there is some wonderful tools that allow you to speed production fairly rapidly, and you will find those through here. But you have Connect, you have Flow Connect, you have a number of really nice tools to work with, and I want to encourage you to go through here and find those that will work best for you. Each artist develops their own workflow when it comes to speeding production process. So what works for you best is what you need to go with. Now I like the edge loop tools. They're very quick, and as soon as I find them. I haven't used them often, as you can tell, but I absolutely love them. So I'm going to pause for just a moment while I locate the tools that I love. Alright, as we resume, there's so many options, again, in the Graphite Modeling Tools, and their iconic representation can get a little overwhelming, but I encourage you to explore. I will show you a couple of tools that I really have enjoyed after upgrading to Max 2011. It makes things really quick. So as I'm in Edge, sub-object, I will select on an edge and very quickly insert loop. Now the nice thing about this interface is that in this new interface they have really done a fine job of integrating instant help messages. So if I scroll over without clicking, I can actually get a drop down with a really decent explanation of what that tool does, even with the images to show. So this makes it very easy to explore the new tool set and to be able to develop your own workflow and pipeline. So insert has quickly become one of my favorite tools. Makes things very fast when you are iterating on your mesh, and you can see what it has done for me. As I select on one edge and say insert loop, it creates another edge loop in there. Now all I need to do is simply select on my move and grab that entire thing and pull it up, and you can see just by doing that one simple thing that I'm well on my way to iterating on this model. Now I can go through here and very quickly upgrade. And make some really nice arches very quickly. Alright, now I'm going to pause here and allow you to continue to work. Oh, actually, before I do that, what I'm going to do is do the same thing down here, insert, and this is how we can begin to iterate on our trunk of our tree as well, rounding out that surface so that it's no longer 3 flat sides, but you can actually get more definition for this particular LOD, of course, in the stalks as well. So we will resume after we continue to work on our trees for a bit. Alright, stay tuned for the next segment of iterating on LOD1 and the application of normal maps for that LOD.